Hey, good morning, Corey. Quick demo video for you for your Tusken Slayer by SP Sabers and Props in Watto's Junkyard. As you know, I got this done yesterday. I just had a few more sabers to wrap up so that I could sit down and do all three demos at the same time. So this is the first of three. This is installed with a Proffie. This has a lot of moving parts on the saber. So you'll want to kind of pay attention to the order of which I do things, right? So you've got CC sabers in here for your NeoPixel connector. If I can get that to focus, there you go. There is a spacer in here. So what you want to do is come over here and unscrew this. This is going to be your blade retention. This saber is an extreme fingerprint magnet. It's very reflective and it's hard for the camera to zoom in on it. So this gold greebly here is your blade retention. So we're going to unscrew that a little bit. We can take this out. This is a spacer for your blade, and I'm going to show you how that works when we fire this up, okay? But I'll be sending this obviously with the saber. First thing you want to do is you want to come over here and take off your two middle bubble buttons, all right? Sometimes you can, I just cut my fingernails this morning, so I'm going to have to use like a pair of needle nose pliers. I got some right here. If you don't have fingernails that you just cut, then you could probably grab them with your fingers, because I was able to do that yesterday. But I'll just come over here and we'll grab one button and pull it out. And then I'll grab the other button and pull it out, and I'll show you what they look like. Both of these have magnets on them. Just like that. So both of them have magnets on them. They look identical. It doesn't matter which one goes into which slot. But the bottom is there. So it had a magnet that came glued in on it already. I went ahead and I glued one additional magnet onto it just to give it a little bit more height on both of them so they could reach the chassis. Once you get those out of there and you have it like that, you can come over here and take your pommel off. All right, so we'll unscrew the pommel. Oh, there's my battery right there. We'll unscrew the pommel. Few threads, no biggie. Your static pommel will be in your box. All right. You can come over here with your finger and just push right through the emitter, and it will pop out the back, just like that. Very easy to do. Slide it out like this. This is what your chassis looks like. So your two switches are inside of your chassis here. The two tactile switches, they do have magnets that are glued onto them. That way, you know, when you put your bubble switches in the control box, they just line up and they attach, and they'll actuate the switches, no biggie. You have removable battery setup. You have a Proffie install here, so easy access to your micro USB, but to get to your SD card, you will need to lift up the board. I use a little bit of E6000 on the sides of the board to hold it in place, but easy to pop up. You just need to pop it up just a hair. Boom, that way, get to your SD card and then put it back down. All right, so not a whole lot of room in this guy to work with, so that's what I did there. A removable battery, try to hide all the wires and make it look nice and clean. It says Solo Sabers over here for me. It does say Tusken Slayer over here in Arabic. And then this has a 22mm Smuggler's Outpost Nano Elite speaker, and I used this speaker because the back end of this chassis actually goes inside the pommel like that, right? It snaps right in there. And with this size of a speaker, it fully encloses it in the pommel. It sounds really good. So that's what I chose to do there. You've got your two NeoPixel accents right here. And of course, that is for the two acrylic lenses. You've got a red and green acrylic lens right here on your saber. So those will light those up very nicely. And what else we got? You'll notice on your chassis, and this is a modification that I do to the saber, but there is a groove running down the length of your chassis right here. That is for the screw on your CoverTech. Not CoverTech. I said CoverTech the other day, and a guy named CoverTech told me how to say it. So it's for your CoverTech. What I did is I took your CoverTech off. I drilled into it just a hair so that I could put that screw back in, and you may not be able to see it. You can almost see it right there, sticking into the saber just a hair, for a chassis clocking system, okay? Because there was no way to put this guy in there and have your switches properly lined up with your control box without you just like looking down there and twisting it and all that. So what I did was put that screw into the hilt a little bit. I put this groove into your chassis, so if we put it in the wrong way, it won't go in. But if we take that groove and we line it up with the cover tech, all of a sudden it slides right in and it won't spin on you. Okay, so that's how we line the switches up. So we'll go ahead and we'll throw a battery in this guy. I do have these 2 LEDs on a timer, so they'll time out if you don't turn on the saber right away. But we'll put this in. First, what we'll do is we'll take the pommel. We'll put the pommel on the saber. We'll line up the groove in your chassis with the cover tech. And just slide it all the way in like that, and then screw the pommel down. All right. Your LEDs are going to look a little weird right now because the chassis is not screwed in all the way, but once this is locked in all the way, everything is aligned properly. And they kind of timed out. All right, so now we can come over here. We can take our 2 switches, either one, and put them in the hole. You can feel them and hear them clip into the magnets that are on the chassis, just like that. All right, so I made your front switch your activation. And you can see how your LEDs are going. Your LEDs on your NeoPixel connector are all lit up. Auxiliary is the back switch. It's a nice smooth swing. And then I gave you twist off. And this is the animation for the saber when the saber is off until it times out. Now I'll go over the spacer I made. If you look in here, it might be kind of hard to see from here, but you do not have very much blade depth. This is made for a 7/8 inch blade. There's not a whole lot of blade depth there. That inner diameter right next to your NeoPixel connector is probably only about that tall, right? So, but when I use the secondary ID there for blade depth, you know, I went from, you know, that much blade depth to now we've got, you know, that much blade depth. So quite a bit. So what you want to do is take this spacer, take your 7/8 inch blade, put the spacer on your blade. It is going to be a tight fit. It's meant to be that way. Slide it on. Now I got your spacer on the blade, right? Just like that. So now we can take this and put this back the retention screw out for the blade. Put the saber in. Oops. Now it locks in your 7/8 inch blade. You have plenty of blade depth. It's very solid. And you can come in here and turn it on. Soundtracks is a long press on the power when the saber's off. Another long press on the power to turn it off. Just like that, and then you trade sound fonts by just hitting auxiliary. Blaster bolts is just tapping on the auxiliary. If you want blade lockup, you have to hold down the auxiliary and hit the saber. Okay, it's a little tricky, but you'll get the hang of it. And we'll move up and down the blade. And then I gave you twist off. Just like that. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll take the blade out of here. That's what the spacer's for. We'll just loosen this up. I did it really quick, so this spacer was a little bit higher on the blade than it should have been. When you do it, just take your time, make sure that you get the spacing right, and everything will lock in fine. It was locking in fine there. It will just look better. All right, so we can take that off our 7/8 inch blade, put that off to the side. I'll put this spacer back in here so I don't forget to send it. Lock it in with the blade retention, and again we'll have to come over here and take these 2 switches out, just like that. And then we can come over here and unscrew the pommel again, and we'll take the chassis out and go over taking the battery out, which is very easy to do. With your finger through the emitter, pop it out just like that. And then from the positive side of the battery, which is over here by your speaker, you should be able to pop it out with your finger. And that is pretty much your Tusken Slayer. Let me know if you got any questions. If not, I will package this guy up and get it out in the mail to you Monday. All right, thanks.